Today I am going to explain the entire lore of Team Fortress 2. This video is either long, medium, or short, but anyways enjoy the full lore of this game. In the ancient past around 4000 BCE, an immortal wizard named Merismus was born. He worshipped Bonzo, the ancient Sumerian circus god, beginning a thousands of years long journey of magical incompetence. Fast forward to 1788, a man named Nicholas Crowder arrived in Australia, found the country to be a hellhole, and decided to hide underground. There, he discovered australium, a golden, glow-in-the-dark element that drastically increases human intelligence, muscle mass, and virility, causing the entire Australian population to grow massive mustaches and quickly invent teleporters, cloaking devices, and advanced space flight while the rest of the world remained primitive. By 1822, a British land tycoon named Zephaniah Mann founded Mann Company, originally Mann Sons Munitions, alongside his twin sons, Redmond and Blutarch. Gullible and desperate for cheap property, Zephaniah was convinced by his sons to travel to America and purchase vast expanses of the American Badlands. Upon arrival, Zephaniah discovered the land was completely barren, worthless desert. The shock and harsh environment caused him to contract every known disease simultaneously. For some reason, on his deathbed in 1850, Zephaniah wrote his last will and testament on a piece of his own sloughed-off skin. Out of pure spite, he left his massive weapons manufacturing company to his faithful servant Barnabas Hale, ancestor of Saxton Hale, and left the completely useless desert land to Redmond and Blutarch jointly. He knew they would never cooperate, forcing them into a permanent state of bickering. He also left his hidden cache of australium to a mysterious maid, named Elizabeth. Redmond and Blutarch immediately went to war over the worthless gravel pit, each hiring a private mercenary team to kill the other. This original 1850s team included historical figures like Abraham Lincoln as the pyro, Billy the Kid as the scout, and John Henry as the heavy. Because neither brother could defeat the other, they realized they would die of old age before winning. To prevent this, Blutarch tracked down Radigan Conagra, the brilliant grandfather of the modern engineer, in 1890. Blutarch hired Radigan to build a life extension machine powered by australium to keep him alive forever. That same night, Elizabeth, the maid who inherited Zephaniah's australium, secretly visited Radigan. She bribed him with extra australium to build an identical life extension machine for Redmond, guaranteeing that the war would continue indefinitely. Radigan secretly built a third, highly advanced machine for an unknown recipient. The timeline jumps to 1968, the era of the modern gravel war. By this time, the entire global conflict is puppeteered by the administrator, Helen, a chain-smoking mastermind who is the granddaughter of Elizabeth. Helen runs both Reliable Excavation Demolition aka Red, and Builders League United aka BLU, under a shadowy parent corporation called TF Industries. Alongside her assistant, Miss Pauling, Helen manipulates the two teams of 9 elite mercenaries to fight over the exact same dirt patches for nearly 3 years, intentionally enforcing permanent stalemates. She does this to keep the world distracted while she secretly gathers and hoards every scrap of australium left on Earth for her own mysterious endgame. The 9 modern mercenaries hired for this endless stalemate are a collection of highly skilled psychopaths. The scout is a hyperactive, fast-talking kid from Boston, who is secretly the biological son of the spy, though he believes his idol Tom Jones is his father. The soldier is an aggressively patriotic American, who was rejected by every military branch, so he bought his own ticket to Europe during World War II and went on a private Nazi killing spree until 1949, completely unaware the war had ended. The pyro is an enigmatic figure whose identity and gender are unknown. Their mask forces them to live in a hallucination called Pyrovand, where they believe they are spreading rainbows and candy to laughing babies, when they are actually burning people alive with a flamethrower. The demon is a fiercely proud, cyclopic Scottish explosives expert raised by a family of traditional demolitionists. His left eye socket is cursed by a talking magical spellbook called the Bombonomicon, causing any eye replaced in that socket to transform into a sentient, flying monster every Halloween. The Heavy is a brilliant Russian literary graduate and gentle giant who fiercely protects his family in Siberia after they escape the Soviet Gulag. Using the millions he earns from Man Company to buy custom minigun ammunition, the engineer is Del Conager, a soft-spoken Texan with 11 PhDs who inherited his grandfather Radigan's blueprints and maintains the administrator's failing life extension. Equipment. The medic is a mad German scientist who lost his medical license after surgically implanting a baboon uterus into a patient. He discovered how to utilize a magical medigun to heal wounds instantly and famously bartered his soul to the devil, outsmarting Satan by surgically grafting the souls of his teammates into his own body so the devil can never claim a majority share. The sniper is an assassin who was actually born in the sunken, underwater utopian society of New Zealand. As an infant, his parents accidentally launched him into space via a rocket that crashed on the Australian outback, where he was raised by wholesome adoptive parents to become a disciplined marksman. The spy is an unidentifiable, suave French operative who utilizes cloaking watches, disguise kits, and sharp suits to systematically dismantle enemy infrastructure while maintaining a romantic relationship with the scout's mother. The Gravel War abruptly ends in 1971 when Grey Man, the long-lost third twin brother of Redmond and Blutarch, reveals himself. Grey was born physically weak but extremely intelligent, speaking full sentences at birth. Zephaniah tried to smother him, but Grey was suddenly abducted by a giant eagle and raised as its own. Grey eventually murdered the eagle, built a corporate empire of his own, and returned to the Badlands. He assassinates both Redmond and Blutarch simultaneously, effectively ending the organic Red vs. Blue conflict. Grey dispatches a massive, global army of self-replicating, cash-powered robots to destroy all Man Company facilities. To survive, Saxton Hale, the hyper-masculine, Australian-fueled CEO of Man Company who wrestles Yetis and refuses to wear shirts, hires the combined forces of the Red and Blue mercenaries to defend the company in the Man vs. Machine war. The mercenaries successfully fight off the robots for months, but Grey Man ultimately uses a legal loophole to challenge Saxton Hale to a fist fight for corporate ownership. Saxton loses ownership of Man Company because he refuses to beat up Grey's surrogate daughter, Olivia. Grey Man takes control of the company, fires the mercenaries, and cuts off the administrator's access to the world's remaining Australium. Helen goes into deep hiding, rapidly aging as her life extension machine runs out of fuel. Miss Pauling is sent on a desperate mission to reassemble the scattered mercenaries, who have all spiraled into bizarre new lives. The soldier was living with roommates in a cardboard box, the demoman had become a severely depressed alcoholic living with his mother, and the medic had surprisingly joined Grey Man's side, working as a scientist for the sinister classic 1930s mercenary team that Grey hired to hunt down the modern mercs. The modern mercenaries reunite and engage in a brutal, multi-continent chase against the classic mercs, hunting for the world's final caches of Australium. They travel to the sunken ruins of New Zealand, only to discover that the sniper's biological father used the country's entire multi-ton supply of Australium to paint his model rockets, completely wasting it. During the final confrontation, Grey Man is betrayed and mortally wounded by the classic Heavy, who strips Grey of his life extension technology. As Grey dies, he realizes the true horror. The administrator didn't steal the Australium for power or immortality, but to settle an ancient, apocalyptic debt. The modern mercenaries launch a desperate counterattack, successfully wiping out the classic team with the help of the medic, who reveals he was a double agent all along. With the classic team dead, the administrator uses the very last Earth's Australium to power her machine for one final hour. She accomplishes her ultimate goal of enacting complete, total vengeance against the ancestral forces that bound the Man family name, resolving the centuries-old conspiracy. With her business finished, she gracefully passes away, leaving Miss Pauling and the mercenaries unemployed but alive, finally free from the multi-generational curse of the Man family Gravel War. And that's the end of the TF2 lore.
Wow, that took 9:55 minutes to complete. Goddamn, that's a while.
Well yeah, this video took me 2 hours to make, so you the viewer can subscribe to Thorplaysgames.
This video is made by Thorplaysgames Studios. This video took me 2 hours to make, so subscribe and like or comment if you want to. Not forcing you to, of course.
Wah wah wah.
Why?
Wah 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 wah.